everyone. Today we are going to be creating a design, a radial design. That means that it's the same all the way around from the center here. And we are going to do that with a flower. A flower is an example of radial symmetry. So we're going to have to find the middle of our paper, and we need our paper to be square to do that. So I'm going to show you how to make kind of a regular piece of copy paper square, and then we'll talk a little bit more about the next step. So when you get started, you're going to need to get scissors and a piece of printer paper or copy paper. And what you're going to do is you're going to take this corner and you're going to bring it to the other side of the paper. And if you need an adult to help you with this, certainly they can help you with this. But you want to get that corner matched so that this edge is together. And then you want to crease the paper lightly. I wouldn't crease it too hard. And then you're going to cut off this leftover piece. So take your time when you're cutting. Cut right along the edge of the paper, and this is going to give you a square piece of paper. Alright, so now I've got my square piece of paper here, and I think I'm going to use this side. So now I'm actually going to fold it the other direction because I want to find the middle. When you're doing a radial design, you want to know where the middle is. So I'm going to bring these two corners together so that they match, and then I'm going to hold it down, and then I'm going to gently crease that side. And that is going to show me now where the middle is. I can flatten my paper back out. If you're having trouble flattening it, if you just kind of fold those creases back the other way, they'll flatten back out. All right, so this middle point is important, so I'm going to mark it with my pencil here. And then what I'm going to do next is I am going to draw a flower. So if you want to make a perfect circle, you can find something at home to make a circle with. A lot of things in the kitchen, like little bottles and like spice jars, make really good small circles. I've got just kind of an old plastic cup that I'm going to use. So I'm going to put that down with the middle there. It does help if you can kind of see through it, but I'm going to use that actually to make my circle. If you don't have something like that, you can certainly just draw your circle, and that's fine too. Okay, and if you want to do another circle inside of it, in this example here, you can see I put a smaller circle inside of it. You can definitely do that. You can just hand draw your circle if you don't have something round to draw it with. And then you're going to make the petals. Now the first set of petals, I want to make one petal on each of the creases that I have. So I'm going to do one here, and then I'm going to turn my paper. I'm going to do another one here, turn my paper, another one here, turn my paper, and then another one here. I want them to be pretty close to the same size, but they're probably not going to be perfect. Then I'm going to make a petal in between them. So I'm going to do a curve between them to give me my flower. And if you wanted more of a pointy petal instead, you could definitely do a different petal shape. You could make them triangles instead, and that would still work. All right, so now that I have my flower, I am going to color it, but I'm going to color it with a color family. So I need to get my markers now, and I'm going to get some of my markers out here. And what I want to do is sort these markers into the warm family and the cool family. So if you just have a red, yellow, and orange, and then a green, a blue, and a purple, you can, basically your rainbow colors. So red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple. That's your rainbow set. Then in the middle here, if I split them in half, my warm family are the colors that I think of when I think of things that warm me up, like fire and sun. And then the cool family are like the things that cool us down. You can think of shady trees or the water, or even I like to think of like nighttime when everything kind of cools down. So these are your color families. Now, if you have some other colors, for example, pink would go to the warm family. If you have like a teal color, teal would go to the cool family, just as an example if you have some of those extra colors. So once you have your color family, you need to decide which set you're going to use for the flower. In this example, I used the warm colors. So for this one, I'll do the opposite. And then you're just going to color the parts of your flower. So try to always outline the edge of the space first before you fill it in so that you have a nice edge for that space, and do your best coloring. Make sure you color the whole space, and always take your time. A lot of times when we're not coloring inside the line, it's because we're going too fast. I like to use the side of the marker when I color, but when I get near the edge, for example, over here, I'm gonna kind of outline this edge, I use the tip. The tip is more for drawing and outlining the edges of things, and then the side of this cone-shaped marker is more for the coloring. So once you're done coloring your flower, you're going to be using the opposite set of colors. So try not to mix them up while you're coloring your flower. Just use only one color family. All right, so when I get to the petals, I like to do a pattern. You can certainly color them all the same if you want. I'm going to do the 4 that I drew the first time I did the petals, the ones that are on the creases. I'm going to do those in blue here, and then I think I'll do the opposite ones maybe in that teal color I have. So I'm outlining the space first, using more of the tip of my marker, and then to color it in, I use more of the side. A lot of times I kind of do a swirl with my marker when I'm coloring, and that way I don't get all those streaks. Now, when you're done coloring your flower, you can put these markers away so you don't accidentally use them for the next part. All right, so I'm just gonna outline these other petals in between, and I'll go back and color those later because I wanna show you the next step. All right, so for later, I'm gonna use this teal color for these in-between petals, and I'll go back and color afterwards. Okay, so once your colors are done for your flower, we're going to be creating these lines around the flower that are called contour lines. Contour lines follow the edges of a shape. So this would be a flower shape, and then they're going to follow the edges. Other people sometimes call these echo lines because it looks like it's an echo of an echo of an echo. And when you do this, you want to keep them kind of close together. If you look at these lines, they're about a pencil apart. I can't really fit the whole pencil in between them. If you want to color the spaces in between the lines, you can certainly do that. That's a choice. It takes a little bit longer, but that's fine. It does look really nice when it's all the way colored. All right, so I'm gonna start with orange. And what I'm gonna do is I'm not gonna touch the flower with my line. I'm just gonna leave this little space, but it's gonna follow the shape of the petals. So you want to go kind of slow when you do this, because if you start to go really, really fast, then it's not going to be the same distance from the flower all the way around. And then it gets really hard as you make these bigger and bigger to keep the shape of the flower. So you want to go kind of slow and take your time to make your line match the edge of the flower. And then I'm going to put my orange away, and I am going to do my pink next. So then I'm just doing the same thing over and over, keeping them close together and going kind of slow so that I can see that they're staying about the same distance away from the line that's closer to the middle. So each time I make this line, it's going to be the same shape as the flower, but it's going to be a little bit bigger every single time. And I'm basically working my way out towards the edges doing this. All right, so now I'm going to use, I think I'm going to do red and then yellow. So there's my red, and I'm going to do the same thing all the way around. I would say it helps to keep the marker closer to your body. If you're working across the paper, you can't really see where you're going. So if you do it closer to you, you can see the curve in front of you. All right, now once I do the yellow one, I'm going to start over on my colors so that there's a color pattern. you can see every time I do a new curve, I'm turning the paper a little bit, so my hand is staying in the same place. All right, so now that I've finished that yellow, I would go back to the first color I started with and try and keep that order. So it would be orange, pink, red, yellow every time I have to start over. And I would keep going until I get all the way to the edge. Now, when you start working your way towards the edge, you can see here where the blue line kind of ended. When I did the next line, I had to kind of stop at the edge of the paper and sort of pretend draw over to the other side where I could start it again, because when you get to the corners of the paper, there's more lines than right here on this edge, because this distance is shorter than this distance. So at some points you're going to have to do what I call air draw. So you're going to have to go and just kind of hop, 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 hop over to here and then draw, and then again hop, hop, hop over to here and draw, because you still want to keep the shape the same where you're adding the lines. So that can be a little bit tricky in the corners, and you just need to try your best to do that so that you finish the pattern all the way to the very edges of the paper. All right, I hope you have fun. I'll see you later.